If you're not familiar with the story, 2012, Manti Teo went through a whole ordeal where he got catfished.
He got catfished. Online dating was a little bit different back in the day than it is now, but it was a lot easier to get catfished back in the day. Might be a little bit easier to get catfished now. What you think?
Yeah, I think, it's a lot of deep fakes and stuff like that out there now with technology and all that. So, yes, I think it may be easier to get catfished now
than it is before. True,
but it's a little bit of naivety, if I said that right.
Naivety, I think. Yeah,
whatever, we know what we're trying to say. So it's a little bit of that going on early in the online dating scene, and Manti Teo definitely fell for it. So story 100%. That we're talking about and where this originates from is, if you have Netflix, which everybody does, it's a documentary on it called The Girlfriend Who Doesn't Exist.
The Girlfriend Who Doesn't Exist.
And it really goes into depth about what happened to Manti Teo. And I'm kind of torn about this, bro, because it was a lot to take in with this documentary. At first, the first episode made me feel like, man, this dude was really gullible. But then... And he's a good dude, right? He's just he's a all really, around really good dude.
God-fearing guy, amazing character. He has an amazing character, bro. Has an amazing character.
Yeah, by far, top-notch guy. I can't. It's somebody that I would want to be a friend with, right?
For sure.
But at the end of the day, the first episode made me feel like this dude was really gullible. But then that second episode came around, and I'm like, yo, oh boy. Who is a girl now?
Who's a girl now? Facts.
And so we gonna say what it is. She was really elaborate in everything she was doing, and
very much so.
And if I was the only person, if I was Manti Teo, I think I would probably got too. Honestly,
facts, because she went through a lot to keep that story going, bro. Like. Right. Was befriending his friends, was talking to some of the homies, and then she was having him go back and tell Manti, well, yeah, I dated, but I didn't. It was like, whatever. We just spoke a little bit. It wasn't like that. Like, he went through a whole lot to have like mutual friends and all. It was like, bro, he did it's going to be kind of crazy for me saying this, but he did a really good job of putting that fake person together, bro.
For sure.
And he, like you said, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, she kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have probably got too. But it's like you said, it's a certain part of like the naivety that goes into it. That's like, bro, like, you have to figure out a way to see this person. And if it's getting, go ahead.
Nah, you go ahead. Finish your thought.
Like, if it's getting to a point where it's a year into this relationship and y'all spoken on the phone, but you haven't seen her, haven't had any plans to meet, haven't had any FaceTime, Skype, whatever kind of FaceTime calls or Facebook video calls or whatever, you have to be like, okay, something is fishy, bro. Like, I wouldn't have let this go on as long as it did, my dog. Like, me personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about the backstory first of who Manti Teo is for the people that don't know. So Manti Teo was a big college football star that played for Notre Dame from 2009 to 2012, or 2008 to 2012. Middle linebacker, and from Hawaii, I think, is it Samoan, Pacific Islander? Samoan. Yep. All right. And the girl that he ended up getting in a relationship with, he was also perceived to be Samoan. Same traits as Manti Teo, and I forgot how they connected. the fake girl, but it just stuck.
So in the sense of that, the way they connected was the girl, which the trans, of course, was also a guy who was also an athlete.
Right, right, for sure.
Right, and he saw Manti all over the news and all over ESPN, Sports Center, is all over the media, and he was in the closet initially, of course, and always thought, well, hey, I don't know if I want to come out yet, so, but I know that I am attracted to guys. I'm just going to create this false, this false character, and Manti is the type of guy that I would see myself with. So he created the fake profile and reached out to Manti, and that's how they got in contact with Manti.
Right. Yeah. So that's what opens up a whole can of worms for me, and all these different thoughts go on in my head. Like, first off, you're Manti Teo.
Right.
You're talking to a girl online the perceived girl online for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. So before the actual season where he got caught catfishing, he had been talking to her. And the girl does not want to come see you. You're Manti Teo.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You're Manti Teo. What girl that you're talking to online is not going to say, yes, I will come.
Would be glad to come.
I'll be glad to be seen with you because of who you are. I'm not. This is not a podcast to bash women. I just want to get that out of here. It's not a podcast for that. But women love status.
For sure.
And he definitely had it during that time. And so to be talking to somebody that always had an excuse to not see you, red flag number one.
Red flag number one.
Number two of all the thoughts and emotions that came to my head was your friends, your football teammates, your boy that you called your brother. I think his name was like Robert Tomei.
Forget his name. I honestly forget his name.
White dude, though. I think he was
white dude. Yeah. White dude, yeah.
He don't say nothing. Your mom and dad don't say nothing until it's like, it's just so many thoughts that came in my head when I'm like, they all play their part.
That comes back to him being just naive as hell, bro, because there's no way that if you're talking this girl up, like you showing pictures to your homeboys, your family, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are Manti Teo, the biggest football star in the nation at this point. And this woman who can see, you know what, I'm not even gonna say that. This woman who can see this perceived status of you on TV every single Saturday is making excuses not to come see you, bro. Like, there's no way. Like, somebody had either you can say it to yourself in your head, like, okay, something's fishy, or if you've been talking this girl up, your homeboys or your family's gonna be like, yo, like, something ain't right about that.
And that's what I was trying to get at, right? Like, at some point in time, somebody that's close to you or that even is in your circle has to say, yo, bro, and you ain't seen her yet?
Facts.
Come on, dog.
That's crazy. Because even just use it like, just using me as example, right? At Central, I was that guy.
Yeah.
And even women, small town college like Central, not even talking about Notre Dame, who's on the national stage every single Saturday.
Every Saturday.
A small time school like Central, a D2 school, women would love to be seen on campus with me.
Right.
Period.
100.
Football star, basketball star, like, people, the women be like, oh shit, that sticks type shit. Like, but Manti, I was nowhere close to the status of Manti Teo.
Manti Teo.
She don't want to see Manti Teo. Come on, bro. If I was, he had yes men around him, bro. He had to. He had a bunch of yes men around him.
And that's what I'm getting at, Sticks, is how do you, as your boy, like if me and you, we live far apart now, but when we were around each other all the time, we used to say, yo, look at this chick. Yo, look at this chick, right?
Facts.
If at any point in time I felt like you were getting serious with some chick, some woman, some beautiful young lady, let's dress that up.
Beautiful women. Right.
So if at any point in time I felt like you were getting serious with some chick, some beautiful young lady, I gotta stop saying chick, and you showing me conversations y'all having, you showing me pictures of her, you showing me or let me hear voice messages, or I even talked to her. That's what was that. We're getting that to in a minute, but that's what's crazy about this shit too. But you even let me talk to her. At some point in time, I'm gonna say, so when she coming to see you, have you seen her? Have you FaceTimed her? Even back then, because FaceTime came out on Apple in 2009.
Yep, and it was prevalent because this was going on for a minute, bro. Like, go ahead, finish your point.
Yeah, but even if you don't have, even if she didn't have FaceTime, she didn't have an Apple product. Skype was around back then, So it's just somebody.
AOL Video Messenger was out.
Yes, I don't blame just Manti, because all of the stuff going on that Renaya was doing, and him again being the good guy that he is. I guess I can see how he got caught up in all of that, and him being focused on football, which they brought up too, is he was really focused on football, and Renaya played to that as well. Listen, I know you got this going on, I know you got that going on. Even still, if I'm Manti's boy, I'm in his ear, bro, this chick is not real. I don't care what you say. You ain't seen her. She ain't shared any FaceTime. All you've gotten is some voicemails and a couple of calls. That's it.
That's it. Oh. That's it. And the crazy thing is the show Catfish was prevalent around this time too.
Right. And he said he didn't know what catfishing was until after all of this came out in the media. And that's what he said, bro. He said he did not know what catfishing was until all of this came out, how it came out, and somebody said, yo, you got catfished. And so...
See, he had to be under a rock for him not to see the show itself.
It seemed like everybody in this whole situation was under a rock. His family, his friends, the girl that the pictures were actually taken from, she was under a rock. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
That whole thing is crazy because it's like he had to, just like to your point, he had to have somebody around him, like, but he couldn't have had somebody around him.
He didn't.
You have to see her. You have to see her. She keeps coming up with excuses after excuse after excuse. And I would have made the point to Manti, like, bro, you're Manti fucking Teo.
Manti Teo.
You're worried about this chick that keeps making excuses not to see you when you can go outside on campus and find a chick, what I'm saying? Notre Dame, like, you can go outside on campus and find a chick right here that would be glad to be around you every day. But you got this chick online that you're falling in love with that don't even want to see you, bruh. Let it go. Let it go.
So let's get into that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that. So Renaya is at the time it was a he when all of this was going on. Now he has transitioned. I believe he transitioned.
He fully transitioned, I believe. I'm not mistaken.
So she transitioned into. Her name is still Renaya, but she says Naya, right? Bro, so elaborate in everything she was doing at the time. You mentioned some of it earlier. Befriending some of his friends, having quick conversations with them, having 2 phones so he can call 2 and 3 phones so he can call Manti in different voices. This is crazy. In different voices. As what was the girl's name? Lene. The girl that Manti was, yes, it was Lene Kakio or something like that.
Gotcha.
The girl and that's the girl that Manti was supposedly in a relationship with.
Okay, Lene, yeah.
So he was calling as Lene's brother, cousin, I think mother or aunt or something like that.
At some point, yep.
It's just like, what? Is it that serious? Like, this is catfishing 1,000, bro.
Bro, he was platinum level.
Yes,
platinum level catfishing, bro.
I read somewhere it said Renaya needs their own Disney show with all of the different characters that he played and voices that she played. I'm sorry. Needs her own joint because she had the level of skill that she had to pull all of this off, and the level of patience that she had to have to pull all of this off, to be able to
have this fake profile, have these 2 and 3 phones, manage all of these things with just Manti himself, and not to and even if it was, I can't say this 100%, but even if it was just Manti, what if she had multiple dudes she was doing this with? If Manti didn't work out, what if she had another guy, another couple of guys that she was catfishing as well, type of thing? You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it takes a level of, I don't even want to call it expertise that she had.
No, that was expertise, bro. She was top notch, mastermind.
Top notch.
Mastermind.
But it's crazy how elaborate this whole story was from Renaya, bro. It was crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. So you mentioned that she may have had other people in the beginning when they started telling this story. Renaya was mentioning how she created the Facebook profile and was befriending all of these people, all of these men, and started talking to some, but it just so happened that Manti stuck, and they started to have a great relationship. And she said that with others, it got to a point where they wanted to see her, and she would end it and disappear. But with Manti, it was different, and it's like I don't know, man. I'm so confused and
man
torn with, is this guy Manti Teo just that gullible and that good of a guy, or is this person just so much of a mastermind that
it's probably a combination of the two, because I believe that Manti Teo is the type of guy who sees the good in everyone.
Yeah,
he's that type of guy. He has that character. He sees the good in everybody. He believes that, you know, he's the type of guy who's going to give you benefit of the doubt 100% of the time, every time. And the fact that he let this go on so long proves that. Right. You know what I'm saying? He rarely ever questioned the reasons why Renaya couldn't see him. Or why she couldn't talk at a certain time, why she couldn't come visit, why she couldn't FaceTime, why she couldn't do these video chats. Like he rarely questioned it. He just let it go. Because I mean, of course, he had his focus on football.
Yeah, I was about to say he had all of that going on too.
He had all that going on with himself too. But it's like, if you claim that you're in love with a woman, and this woman is telling you that she is also in love with you, at some point, to make that love connect even further, you have to meet with this person or see this person, no matter how far away this person is. You have the technology to do it.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question.
What up?
And it's going to take us off topic real quick, but it ties into our podcast as a whole, because we talk about sports, we talk about media, we talk about current events, and we talk about relationships. Is that just a man thing, that you have to see somebody in a certain amount of time in order to make the relationship keep moving forward?
Nah, I think that's a human nature thing, bro, to be honest, because you can't say, at some point both parties are going to want to meet up with the other person that they've been talking to online and they're building this relationship with and this rapport with and this love for. At some point, I believe both parties, man and woman, are going to want to eventually see each other and meet each other, touch each other, you know, embrace each other, you know, feel each other type shit. You know what I'm talking about? I'm with you. So it's like, I think that's a human nature thing. I don't think it's just a man thing. What side are you on that?
No, I agree to a certain degree. The reason I asked, and the follow-up question I was going to ask with that is, how long is it?
I don't think there's a time limit.
So, okay.
And so with that being said, I guess going into your leading statement would be, well, how do we know a year or so is long enough for Manti or Renaya?
Yeah, but what I was going to say, and again, still keeping us off topic, is for a man, how long is the wait? For a woman, how long is the wait? And I guess we can't speak on the woman's part, women.
Right?
But for us, if we're talking to somebody that is far distance, I can't really say much about it now. But in my heyday, I did have a couple of online relationships, and this documentary made me be like, damn, was I ever catfished? And
I've never been catfished a day in my life, bro.
So my college roommate, who is my brother as well, me and him were online dating gurus. He was way better than me, but so
give yourself some credit, bro. You was
no. Yeah, but I'm saying this man,
yeah,
top tier player from the Himalayas.
Got you.
No, different area code type joint. That's my man.
Right.
But yeah, so we would always be asking each other, when you gonna see her? Did she send this? Oh, she sent that. Okay, what does it look like? Is there anything that is relevant into making sure that she's real? We always wanted to make sure. We was keen on making sure that we were talking to somebody real. And I think for a guy, after 2 months, maybe 3 months tops, might be shorter than that. I can't recall. It just depends on the situation of where the person was located, and I think for a guy it's a lot quicker than for a woman. What's your thoughts on that?
I would agree. I was going to say, I think a guy's urge to physically meet the woman is a lot quicker than a woman's urge.
Okay, and it's probably so for the woman's part, it probably varies on the type of woman she is too.
That.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Okay. So since you told a little bit about your online dating, since I've moved here, right? Mm-hmm. I had a
I was gonna say talk about what you mean by here, but you don't have to put your business.
Since I moved away from North Carolina, right. There's a young lady that I was talking to that fell in my DMs on Instagram that lives in Charlotte, right?
Oh,
and apparently, right now, I talked to my little sister about this. You know, Cash. I talked to my little sister about this.
Yep.
And she used to always send pictures. You know. Pictures to me, but they wouldn't be like from her camera roll. They would be screenshots, right? And I'm like, so I get to going through the pictures and I analyze the pictures. I'm like, okay,
red flag.
That looks different. The toenail polish on this one is a little bit different. I'm just going through analyzing these pictures, and I was sending to my sister. She was like, "Yo, I don't think this girl is who she say she is." Type, and I was like, "Yo, I'm thinking the same thing," to keep myself from being catfish type thing. So I would always like, "Yo, like when you coming to see me?" And she would always respond with, "When you flying me out." Bitch, I ain't flying you out. You paying for your own shit. Well, I ain't coming. All right, you ain't gotta come. I don't care, right? But then, okay, cool. So I let the conversation go on for a little while longer, maybe like a couple of weeks. And she would always send me these pictures, and they would always be screenshots. I'm like, yo, like, who are you? And so I asked, like, who are you? She said, what do you mean? What do you mean, who am I? Right? And I was like, these pictures aren't coming from your camera roll. Yes, they are. No, they're not. They're screenshots. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So we ended up falling off the face. She ended up falling off the face of the earth for like a week or two. Came back in my DM on Instagram because I blocked her on my phone. Why did you block me? Because you're fake. Right?
This is recent, right? You said this is recent.
This is recent. This was probably maybe a couple of months ago.
And people still out here catfishing like that, though?
People still out here bro. And I would ask her, like, yo, let's FaceTime. Oh, no, I got my daughter in the bed with me. Okay, well, go to the living room. Did she sleep? Go to the living room. Never wanted to FaceTime. But she would call every time I would try to FaceTime her, she would answer the phone with FaceTime audio. So all right, I'm blocking you.
Yeah. That's very fishy. And so and getting back to Manti, even though this technology, FaceTiming and all that was newer back around that time, something had to click to him. Is okay, this woman never wants to talk to me or see me or get us to where we're face to face, or I can actually see her in motion and actually talk to her. Nah. I got too much going on right now.
Too much, bro. And even with that, which could have played into like we said before, it could have played into a huge part as to why Manti never was really pushed or pressed to see her, because he had so much going on with football,
right,
with his future and stuff like that, trying to keep everything in line, because it was a lot. He was doing a lot. So it was like, okay, cool. He might not have been pressed to see her, but at some point, whenever I'm feeling like my heart is in this,
I gotta see you.
I gotta see you.
I gotta see you.
I gotta see you. It's a wrap. Like, no, I'm flying you out. Yep. At that point, I'm gonna fly you out because it's too much going on. I'm gonna offer.
And you know he had it. He had Notre Dame. You know he had it. Some form of fashion.
He had it
some booster would have paid it. Something.
Which is illegal, by the way, guys. But but he had to get it how he lived.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I wasn't saying that to incriminate Manti. I'm just saying, listen, it was some form of fashion to. Again, we're talking about Manti Te'o. Y'all just look up. If you don't know who he is, look him up around that time, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, they got a point. Somebody would have.
Somebody would have helped him out.
We're gonna get in that too. Him being an animal, because I analyzed that as well. But at some form of fashion, some person would have got Lene to him, especially when the story blew up, or especially when everything was going on as far as she had. This is another part, Sticks. She had leukemia. And then, and then she was in the hospital, and then she was good, but
then she was dead.
And then she came back. Like, bro, listen,
went through Renaya killed Shorty off.
Yes,
killed her off, bro. Like, what?
This is like a whole episode of Power, bro. We waiting for Ghost to come back.
Right. And when he killed Lene off, it was right after his grandma had just passed.
The same day. So the same day his grandmother passed away. He gets a call about Renaya getting in a car accident and dying. Or was it the other way around? No, she got into a car accident before, and
but she died of the leukemia.
Whoa. All right, man. All right, I'm gonna keep this together. So she got into a car accident. Renaya, again, played many hats. She was like Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy.
Miss Doubtfire.
And Eddie Murphy playing all these roles,
all these parts. Right.
Yo, okay, so
Nutty Professor head ass.
Yes, 100%. So she supposedly gets into a car accident and is in the hospital.
Right.
Renaya is playing her brother, calls Manti, quote unquote, in the hospital, puts the phone to Lene, who is the girl that he's portraying, to her so he can hear the breathing and her on the tubes. And quote on, and this is true. You please look at this documentary. I hope.
Yeah.
And so he puts the phone to her, lets her hear her breathing and stuff. Manti's talking to her and saying, all the pleasantries and sentimental statements that a person would say that's in love with somebody and not able to be with them while they're supposedly on their deathbed. And Renaya is she needs to write her own movies and stuff. So she says that she comes back, and I don't know how it got back to Manti, but the nurse says whoever she's talking to or whoever's talking to her, that's the most response that we've gotten out of her since she's been in this hospital.
I didn't see that part, bro.
What?
I didn't see that part, bro. So wait. So was it Renaya also playing the nurse?
Yes.
He's the mastermind, bro. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. He needs to be Neve. He needs to take over the Catfish show, bro.
Yo.
He's the greatest.
By far. Man, when I heard that, that's what made me like, from Manti is gullible and naive to this was elaborate. It was so many different weaves and elements tangled into one.
Bro,
yeah.
He's the greatest.
Mastermind.
Oh my gosh, bro. The amount of voices, the amount of times he had to change his voice, and I knew that from the beginning of the documentary. I didn't see that part, which is crazy. But the amount of voices he had to use to keep this story going is remarkable, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got to remember what you told them as this person. What he had to remember. I'm gonna say he because it was he at the time.
At the time, right.
He had to remember what he told Manti as the brother. He had to remember what he told Manti as the cousin. He even got his little sister in on it.
I saw that part.
Yeah. So he got his little sister who knew that he was catfishing Manti to say something along the lines of, I wish Lene was here to witness this or something, because they actually got to go to a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like,
so
yo,
much, bro.
he was the greatest of all time, bro.
Yeah.
But if y'all haven't seen it, if y'all haven't seen that story on Netflix, go look at the Manti Teo story on the catfish story on Netflix. What's the name of it again? I forget.
It's the girlfriend who didn't exist.
The girlfriend who didn't exist. Please go watch it, because it is a, even if you don't know who Manti Teo is, it's still a good watch on Netflix.
It's a good watch.
It's still a good watch for sure.
And we're going longer than we want to on this, but yeah. I have to stay with this because it was so much.
Go ahead.
About this daggone documentary and about this story that just made me go digging and looking at other stuff. So the reason that this story came out the way it did in 2012 is not because it was Manti Teo and it was like he was catfished. It came out because the reporters at Deadspin wanted to stick it to ESPN and all of the mainstream media companies for not doing their due diligence and doing their research. And so they found out that Manti was being catfished, and the person that he was quote unquote in a relationship with was not the person that he thought they were. And so the reporters, I forgot their names. Let me see if I have it here. I forgot Timothy Burke and Jack Dickey.
I think those names came up in the documentary.
Yeah, they were in the documentary.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, they were in the documentary. So they wanted to stick it to ESPN. And they said that ESPN is always trying to break news, break stories, that they don't actually do the research to know what they're doing, which, again, this was 2012. Was that the start of fast media, to where everything had to be, I got to get it out no matter what it is. Let's get it out. And if it's good, if it's bad, it's going to bring some publicity and some advertising dollars back to us.
So you saying that Deadspin might have been the first kind of sort of like TMZ type thing?
Yes.
Okay. Got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, but differently though, because TMZ is what I was referring to as far as fast media, because
right.
Because if you recall, R.I.P. Kobe, them or somebody else put out that Kobe Bryant was dead before Vanessa was even
alerted,
right, or told by the authorities that yes, your husband is dead. And so she found out from the news and not actually the proper channels of being informed of that her husband and her daughter just died in a plane, a helicopter accident. Right. So Deadspin was the opposite though. They were the ones that actually put together the story of actually did the work of going to find out, okay, this person's not who she says she is. Manti Teo is being played and is playing into his Heisman Trophy run because of the whole pageantry of this is a great feel-good story, and he's doing it for his grandmother and for his dead girlfriend, and all of that was fake. And then so when the story breaks, the second story that comes from that is, was he in on it?
Facts. I remember that.
And so
like, but how would you even spin a story like that to say was Manti? I know how you could spin it, because it's like you're hyping up your Heisman Trophy run. You're trying to do these things. It could be a PR stunt. It could be.
Yeah, for sure.
Why would you think that Manti would be in on catfishing?
I don't know. I don't know why. It don't seem right. But as always, we heard this as youngins. We hear it still in our age now. The media and the public loves to build you up, to break you down.
To break you back down.
And he was, again, we're going to look at his stats because while it was a good year, it wasn't like the year you think he would have. Or that it wasn't like that type of year, but because he played at Notre Dame, which is probably is one of the top tier football programs in the country, and because they were undefeated, which they got their ass beat in the national championship game that year.
Beat the brakes off them boys.
But because they were undefeated, he had all of this mystique and all of this status and all of this goodness that came behind the type of play that he was having.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as this came out, everybody turned on him. He went from being the media darling to being on the cover of most hated athletes. How do you Sticks? How do you become the most hated athlete because somebody catfished you?
How is that
not anything
possible,
you
bro?
did,
How's
not
that even
anything
possible,
negative
bro?
you did. You fell for somebody catfishing you.
Crazy. You want to bring it up?
Oh, I had it. I had it all.
You already had it up. You already had it.
I didn't have it. I didn't have it up, but I researched all of this. So I compared his stats to others, the middle linebackers, his similar stature, because he also, and once all of this came out, his draft status fell because people didn't want to deal with, or they thought he was going to be a drama queen or king, whatever the term is.
Because he was drafted
in the second round. He was drafted in the second round in a 36th pick.
Okay, got you.
To the San Diego Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was as a Heisman candidate, runner-up, I think he was he's a third or runner-up.
He was a runner-up.
How as a Heisman runner-up, you go from being a first-round draft pick to, because of this, being drafted in the second round because people questioned your you being a drama king. When I looked up his numbers, I actually think and saw his performance in the national championship game, tying in sports. It wasn't just because of that. It was because his combine numbers and his performance in the national championship game playing against Alabama.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Alabama.
Yes.
That's as close to an NFL team as you're going to get year in and year out.
For sure.
While he did have 10 tackles, he was not the Manti Te'o that we all saw that year.
But could you contribute that performance to everything that we're circling in the media though? Because a lot of that does have an effect on your mental, like your psyche. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of stuff on your mind. Your grandma just died. Your girlfriend just died, who you found out was a catfish.
Yep.
Like this whole time. Like that could play into his mental. So I can kind of give him. He gave everybody else benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt on that one. You know what I'm saying? Because he had a lot going on.
I 100% agree with you for the national championship game. Right?
Yeah.
But then because he did have a lot to deal with, because after the national championship game is when that Deadspin article came out and all of the media hoopla started to circulate around him. He actually had to get moved from the place that he was staying at while he was training to a secluded location. It's just crazy, man, because we can go on and on about this. We can go
on and on about this.
We can go on and on about this. But I say all that to say that I don't think, while he was dealing with a lot and it was drama and all this media circulation that came behind him at that time, he actually did not perform that well either in the combine or his pro day. So I compared him to some other middle linebackers: A.J. Hawk, Patrick Willis, Luke Kuechly, Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher. His numbers, as far as the combine and the stats, don't add up. So let's just look at it.
You got those numbers? You want to share your screen?
No, I'm just read it off.
I bet.
So 40 time, he runs a 4.82.
Got you.
A.J. Hawk, 4.64. Patrick Willis, 4.53. Luke Kuechly, 4.58. Ray Lewis, which it was tough to find Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher's stats, I guess, because they were pre-2000s and all of that stuff wasn't easily accessible or kept track of like it is nowadays. But supposedly Ray Lewis ran a 4.58 and Brian Urlacher ran a 4.57, which I can see for Brian Urlacher because he was a safety in college.
Right, he was a safety in college. Yeah.
Bench press. Manti
Patrick Willis was moving 4.53. Patrick Willis was gold.
Patrick Willis was a beast, bro. But
for sure.
But so I also pulled in somebody that we know very well. Different position, still linebacker though. 4.52. Aaron Curry.
No, I mean I knew who he's gonna bring up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He was moving too though. Yeah. Aaron was an animal, bro. Aaron was an animal,
sure.
Bro.
Yeah, not to get off topic, but I was just pulling all these people in.
Facts.
And so bench press. He didn't even bench press at the combine or pro day. Didn't even bench press. At a linebacker,
See, okay.
You have to do stuff like that.
But as a linebacker, because I'm about to say I didn't bench press either.
Yeah.
In my pro day or my combine, I didn't bench press at all. But that's only because I was just coming off of shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
Because I had shoulder surgery in December and my pro day was in March. I was like, I'm not benching. What?
Yeah.
But I'm a receiver though. Receivers don't have to do it. We can.
They got to run.
We have to run. We have to run though. Yes.
But bench press. I mean, if you do well, that's good. If not, I mean, you don't have to be strong. You just have to be able to run it and get in and out of breaks.
Catch the ball. Yep.
You know what I mean? So he didn't bench press. Everybody else doing 20 plus on the bench press reps. Vertical, 33-inch vertical. Everybody else other than Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis, 35 and above. Gotcha. He did 33. So this is where I'm saying he had a good season.
He didn't have the number. He didn't have the performance in his combine like they thought he was going to have coming out.
It gets deeper than that. It gets deeper than that. So total tackles on the year: Manti 113, AJ Hawk 121, Patrick Willis 137. This man Luke Kuechly, bro.
That's senior years.
The year before they go into the draft.
Gotcha.
This man Luke Kuechly had 191 tackles.
Luke Kuechly was a beast his last year, bro.
Whoa. Yes.
Because he went to Boston. He went to Boston College, right?
Boston College for sure.
Right.
Ray Lewis had 160. Brian Urlacher 178. Again, we're gonna talk about Luke Kuechly for a bit too. Solo tackles: Manti 55. AJ Hawk 69. Patrick Willis 87. Luke Kuechly. Solo tackles now. This is unassisted. You tackle somebody one-on-one by yourself.
130. I'm going to guess 130.
102 solo tackles.
102. Out of 191, though, that man was at the ball every play, bro.
Every play. You saw it in the NFL.
Yeah, facts.
All right. Tackles for loss. Manti, 5.5 tackles for loss. AJ Hawk, 16.5. Patrick Willis, 11.5. Luke Kuechly, 12. Ray Lewis, 8 sacks. Manti, but middle linebackers don't really have that many sacks unless they're blitzing or that's a part of the scheme. So
put it this way: he had 8.5 his whole career.
His senior year, he had 1.5. AJ Hawk had 9.5. So that's what Ohio State was doing. They was just blitzing AJ Hawk. Patrick Willis had 3. Ray Lewis had 2. Now this is where Manti made his name, and this is what kind of makes his season unique. But if you're running a 4.82, it doesn't really matter that you're a coverage linebacker. He had 7 interceptions that year. Yeah, that's amazing. As a linebacker,
that's good.
Yeah, but he didn't do it in a national championship game
at all.
He ran a 4.82. So to me, and to bring it all together, yes, he dealt with a lot. As far as that catfish ordeal, and again, Manti, if you see this, bro, I'm not saying anything negative about you. You are a great human being, but
100%.
All of what he dealt with for the year, he didn't deal with this until the last 2 months of his senior year, or a month of his senior year.
The last month.
Or was it before that?
It was literally right before the national championship,
and his grandmother was dead.
It was literally right before the national championship, as they were going into like the Heisman candidacy and stuff like that.
Right. So, so he didn't deal with all this until that last month. His numbers don't really add up per se to people in a like and comparison to him that are comparable to who he is. So to me, yeah, he was a Heisman candidate, but the numbers say otherwise.
I agree with you. He definitely wasn't the explosive linebacker that the NFL thought he was going to be.
Right.
Coming out of Notre Dame, and what he showed his all 4 years of college, like averaging 109 tackles a year is crazy.
Right.
Like, it's still good, but if you're going to be compared to somebody like Luke Kuechly, who had 191 in one season.
191. But I mean, not even that. You know, like Patrick Willis, AJ Hawk, they had 120 plus. I think if you're going to be seen as a top tier linebacker, you have to have multiple tackles, because that means you're around the ball, right? And 4.8 for a middle linebacker, especially back in that time, is not bad. But when you compare to, I don't see AJ Hawk. To me, I don't remember AJ Hawk being that athletic. But he ran a 4.64 and had a 40-inch vertical.
He was explosive.
So you know what I mean. So
he was explosive. He was strong.
Right. If you don't have the stats, you better for sure have the attributes as an athlete. Yeah. Right. As an athlete, because they can justify, well, he didn't have the stats, but this is his performance. And this is what his numbers say he can be at the pro level based off of what he did at the combine. We see it all the time with these little known players that come out of nowhere that run 4.24s, and they get picked up way before they went from being undrafted to potentially a 3rd, 4th round pick.
Facts.
So, yeah. We went off topic. We went off topic as far as that.
We were still on topic as Manti.
Yeah, so as Manti, but yeah. And so, to wrap it all up, the documentary finishes off with him talking about his mental health, him seeking help, and being numb, and ultimately this whole situation stealing his confidence, which for me I can relate to, because it's a lot of stuff that we as men deal with on a daily basis, that if we're confident, we can overcome a lot, right? It's just, if you have confidence, you can do whatever you want to do, basically. As long as you feel like you can do it, you do it with confidence, it can be done. This whole situation took his confidence, because he then started to question, can he trust himself? And when he went to see this therapist in his 3rd year, I think he said, his 3rd year in the league with the Chargers, 2nd or 3rd year. He went to see this therapist. Sure. Yeah, he went to see this therapist, and the therapist was saying, "Have you forgiven Renaya?" And this is where we said Manti. This is where we see that Manti is just a great human being,
just a great guy,
all around. He's like, yes, without question. I mean, yeah. Why you ask me that? He was like, okay, that's good. The therapist is talking to the therapist. He's like,
right.
Okay, that's good. All right, great. Have you forgiven yourself? And he stopped and thought. Have I forgiven myself? What do you mean by that? Well, and this is what we talk about as a man, as an athlete. As an athlete, as a man, you have to trust yourself. You have to know that if you make this decision, whether it's good or bad, you can live with the consequences. You have to do it all in confidence. And now you experience the negative side on an ongoing basis of something that happened to you. You have to forgive yourself. Because if you don't forgive yourself, and this, again, it's the therapist talking to Manti, you're always going to experience the issues that he was having while he was in the league. And some of those issues was, he was saying he felt numb. He didn't feel like himself while he was on the field. That used to be, he felt at home. It was foreign to him. And I'll wrap all of this segment up by saying, my man dealt with all of that and still played 7 years in the league.
Facts. Yeah.
But if you haven't seen The Girlfriend That Didn't Exist, please go check it out.
Please go check it out.
Let us know what y'all think in the comments.
For sure.